Hello everyone, and welcome to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Today we're going to complete our tour of Asgard by meeting the royal family, visiting the palace, the training grounds, royal stables, Buri's tomb, and the Mead Hall. Now, I mentioned in an earlier episode that I was starting with Sif and the Warriors 3 as teenagers. Well, I started with Thor and Loki as toddlers, and the reason I had the others as teenagers was so as they grew up, I could do all the teenage drama stuff with them. I was really focused on Thor and Loki as the main characters, so I didn't care much about the childhood of the others. They played with a couple of elf kids when they were children instead. But I kept all the save games of their childhood and teenage years, so I can go back and replay that if anybody's interested in seeing some of it. But now back to the tour. To the right over here is a dance hall with places that you can dance and a stage for live music or performances or anything like that. And then on the left we have the feasting hall with the high table with the designated seating for the royalty. Not that the Sims will listen to designated seating. And there's a little kitchen over here that's attended by a waitress NPC. I think it was Merida that I assigned to that position. And then this little stairwell over here, which leads down into the treasure vault. And in the vault, we've got an assortment of random objects from the decorations tab that I thought looked fitting. Creepy little chest, something pickled in a jar, set of wands. And just like the TARDIS, if you're going to put the Infinity Gauntlet in the game, I'm going to use it. And as far as I'm concerned, this statue is the petrified remains of the killer rabbit of Caer Banog. And finally, in pride of place, on the left is the Eternal Flame, and on the right is where I want to put the Casket of Ancient Winters if I can ever find something that looks vaguely like it in the game. I've done my best to make the palace absolutely massive, the sort of scale you'd expect on Asgard, with the two side rooms both being 2 stories, and then the main hall here is 3 stories tall. Wherever possible, I've had the royal family actually purchase and own properties in and around the royal palace. I mean, technically they own the entire island or planetoid, but, for game functionality, I wanted them to own the venues as well. Over here is probably the simplest part of the palace I've made. It's basically just a shell to house the city hall, military, and police rabbit halls. There you see I've used some of Jinx's custom rugs again. Link in the description. Here we have the residential wing of the palace where the royal family actually lives. The ground floor is fairly simple. It's just a trophy room, a small training room, and then the path down further into the basement. Then you come up these stairs and through into a sort of reception hall with doors going off in every direction and stairs going further up. Over here we have the kitchen. It was my first attempt at Asgardian interior design for kitchens, with trying to get all the appliances I wanted to use, as well as the mix of medieval and futuristic styles. This little room is the servants' quarters. Personally, I find the butlers in-game a bit of a nuisance. They don't do what I tell them to, but the room is there if I want to use them. And these are a couple of the all-in-one bathrooms that you can get from Into the Future. I'll admit that they were a bit of an afterthought. I forgot to put a regular bathroom facility on the main floor, and then I realized that the Sims were walking all the way up to their private bathrooms upstairs, and that's quite a commute for a Sim. It was wasting a lot of time in my gameplay. And this is the royal family's private dining hall. Obviously there's enough room for them to invite friends over if they want. Cute little family sitting room over here. Large private library space, something for everyone to read in here. And in the center we have a holographic representation of, there is no way I'm attempting to pronounce that. The mundane term is the world tree. It's basically the metaphysical structure upon which all the planets of the 9 realms are somehow a part of or aligned with or grown from. I'm not sure how the myth goes there. And then we've got a little private alchemy station, initially for Frigga, but I imagine Loki would use it too. So up to the next floor now, and you can see that sort of reception chamber there. It's 2 stories with a nice chandelier and a balcony around it. Over here we have Loki's bedroom. You can tell because it's color-coded with green, and he's got bookshelves and desks and papers and stuff because he's interested in that sort of thing. And you can see the evidence of these characters having grown up in this castle. We've got a shelf full of collectibles, we've got photos on the wall, souvenirs from school trips, and you can see the little fairy house here as well. Initially I wasn't sure which supernatural species I ought to make Loki. It was easy to choose witch for Frigga, but eventually I discovered the NRAAS hybrid mods, and I used those to make Loki both a witch and a fairy, so he has all of the magic, and it plays into his title as God of Mischief, to be, the fairies play pranks and all that sort of thing. And then it started cropping up in his wishes in gameplay that he wanted to throw fairy parties and have a fairy castle, so I gave him one. Now, when I tried to think of what to put into an Asgardian bathroom, the first thing that came to my head was things like hot springs and, large stone bathing tubs. So I've given them all this sort of style here. There's a fancy into the future shower and all-in-one bathroom for actual toilet needs, and then the pretty big pool to soak in if they want to. It's a bit extravagant, but it seems fitting in my mind. Next we have Thor's room. The items on the walls, I'm pretty sure they came with various expansion packs, but the ones that are sitting on that table there, they're definitely from the Armory custom content I downloaded. I'll link that below. I think that pull-up bar was custom as well, but I can't remember for sure. And just like Loki, you see all the memories from his childhood up on the walls here. And here we have Odin and Frigga's private chambers. It's not as well decorated. I was focusing on Thor and Loki primarily, but they both have crowns that I used cheat codes to get. They're just the prom king and queen crowns, but they look realistic enough if you look at them from a distance. And around the back here we have Frigga's gardens. It's a bit of a work in progress because I've been building it as I've been building her gardening skills. So yeah, that's not finished yet, but here it is anyway. I also make no claims at being any good at landscaping or any idea where to put plants when I'm doing a design of anything. You probably noticed that by now. There's not that much plant life around the wild parts of Asgard, so I do my best. Over here we've got the royal stables. All of the venues that the royal family owns, I've had them upgrade to 3 stars, which took quite a lot of effort, especially here because all those statues, wasn't near enough to the cost that you needed for property value to make it count. And now I get to introduce you to Odin's loyal steed. I'm not following the myths with this horse. Couldn't, even if I wanted to. The game wouldn't let me. It's not even canon in the MCU anyway. That horse was around back when the murals of Hela's conquests were painted, so my only regret is there isn't any way I've been able to find to give it 8 legs like it did in the movie. Because yeah, you do see it in the movie when Odin shows up on Jotunheim after the little skirmish there. Now over here are the Royal Training Grounds. It's basically a martial arts academy that I designed myself. It's fairly simple, and again, it was a nightmare to get up to 3 stars. Because honestly, I was going for something basic and utilitarian that served the purpose functionality rather than being all pretty and shiny. And even if I did paint it gold, the game wouldn't notice the price increase of it being gold instead of basic brick. And over here we have the only access point to Buri's tomb. Theoretically, you need a boat to get there, although there are other ways. I've done my best to make the tomb look old and creepy, but on the inside it's just a standard mausoleum. I could have used one of those custom rabbit hole rugs, but honestly I think this looks better when you come to visit. It's theoretically plausible that there's a building in a building, and I think it works. And finally we have the Mead Hall, where I recorded the little clip for the intro in episode 1. The real problem I had with this building was that because I labeled it a sports bar, it wanted a couple of TVs in order to upgrade it to 3 stars. So I've hidden the TVs, you'll never find them. But other than that, I've done everything in my power to make this place as cozy and inviting for your average Asgardian as possible. Now you see this little row of barrels over here, and there was one in the royal kitchens as well. These are custom content that I downloaded from Mod The Sims. It's made by the Merrymakers. The link will be in the description. I use a lot of their stuff. They're really good for medieval style. And another custom content creator that I'm really fond of, I don't want to mispronounce their name, but it looks like Cyclonius or something. The link's in the description below as well. They made the banquet table here, and they also do more industrial style stuff as well. So I got a train from them, for example, that I use for my Harry Potter builds. And here you can see our NPCs hard at work. We've got Hydrun working as a nectar merchant, and Fandrel's mom over here is a waitress. And since she's an adult now, I've decided that Lorelei can be the mixologist at this bar. And this place is designed not only for parties more massive than I think I can orchestrate in The Sims, but also for everybody to sleep over afterwards when they're wiped out and can't ride their horse in a straight line to get home. Or I guess in a more civilized scenario, it's also set up for wandering travelers and visitors to Asgard to be able to have a place to stay as well. The basic theme of this Mead Hall is stolen straight out of Skyrim. It's strongly inspired by Jorvaskar, the idea that it's an upturned ship that's been reused into a building. So you can see on the exterior here that I've been working with that idea in mind. And I'm going to finish up here today with a few clips from my weak attempt at throwing a massive feast. And that's it for today. Next week we'll be visiting Jotunheim. And if there's anything that you want me to build specifically, anything in the Marvel universe that you'd like to see in my game, please comment down below and I'll consider your suggestions, because, I want to get to everything eventually, and it's more a matter of what do I do next rather than what do I do at all. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please remember to like and subscribe if you want to see more from me.